So I wanted to just share my lifestyle of being in my mid-40s, not experiencing hot flashes, and what I do to care for my restoration, care for my vessel. So I initially wasn't doing very well with taking care of my vessel. It took a scare for me to wake up and make some changes. Previously, what I would eat would be eggs every day. Boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, but every day I had eggs. Pizza often, cold cuts often, potato salad, macaroni salad. Those were delights to me. I baked goods all the time. I was eating them. I was making them. Everything that I consumed was comfort for me. That was the space I was in, and that's what I wanted and needed. I craved it until my body started declining. And this started in my 20s, still in college, finishing college. College lifestyle, you're not concerned about eating healthy. You're concerned about drinking your Red Bull, chicken noodle soup, and McDonald's and whatever quick food you can grab just so you can get ready to go to your next class. That was my life. Fast food was definitely a go-to often. I didn't have time to dine in. I was quick and in a hurry. But the scare I received was real. It was really bad. I couldn't go to the bathroom without being in a lot of pain. And it's nothing worse than going to the bathroom and feeling like you're giving birth, but not the way you give birth, if you know what I mean. And I was tired getting colonoscopies and them saying, okay, nothing's really wrong. Just stop drinking coffee every day. Stop making changes, but they didn't tell me the full blueprint. Then I went out the country and went to Costa Rica, Pura Vida, and I had an amazing experience. Mangoes were the size of my face, and I didn't need my skin medication. The water was healing. The hot springs were very healing to my body. Everything about it. And I mean, at that time I was eating everything, but it was just different, you know. Then I came back home to the States and went back to eating the way I was eating. And then I started doing research on just how to take care of my vessel. Different lifestyles. I hit up Pinterest and I found out about the eating for your blood type. Thought that was it. Then I'm confused because eating for your blood type is different depending on what site you're on. Some say leave the chicken alone. Some say it's okay. Some say do turkey. Some say this. I was just done. So I said, this is confusing. Let me try a different avenue. Then I tried the Daniel fast. The Daniel fast was probably one of the better fasts that I tried, but it was just unusual. I wasn't prepared. I fasted as long as I could fast, but I was craving meat. You know, the ancient grains was definitely helpful, but I just was not ready. Anything I had, if it didn't have meat on it, I thought about the meat. You know, but I come from a soul food family, a Southern family. We eat for comfort. Spam, sage sausage, grits, eggs, corned beef hash. That was a regular for me. Toast with butter, lots of butter, and jelly. Breakfast was not a fast. Breakfast was a go, eat. Maybe the fast part was when I got the itis and couldn't wake up because I was so tired after eating so heavy first thing when I wake up. So I just, it took my body to have to experience discomfort for change to occur. And I think that happens with many people. Either they quit and just say the heck with it, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna croak. Or people say, you know what, I don't like this feeling, I want to make change. I wanted to make change. So the Daniel fast was helpful, but I wasn't fully ready for that commitment. It was, I believe, the Daniel fast, there was no meat. It was just, everything was vegetables, ancient grains, water, like just natural from the earth type of food. And I just wasn't ready. I did as best as I could. I can't even tell you how long I fasted. Left that and then pursued the flexitarian diet, which was a little bit more my speed because I was able to still have my animal protein plus my veggies, which honestly I needed a lot more of anyway. And half my plate was full of vegetables. The other half of it was maybe the starch, and the other part was the animal protein. So that went well for a while. But I still needed to go a little harder. And I was only making these changes because I wanted to be comfortable, not because I was trying to prove anything to anyone. But I just remember the laughter I received from my colleagues, from people I work with. Like, what is your problem? What is up with you? And you have like 3 different beverages. You have all these different snacks in your bag. And I was making my food. And I was laughed at quite a bit. I'll tell you now, those people that were laughing at me are now experiencing what I am not experiencing. So it's very interesting that back then it was funny. Now people want to learn. Because I sometimes forget that I'm in my mid-40s. My youngest child is, he's 15 months about now. 15 months. And I honestly forget. Like, I just called my pensions department at my job, and they told me that I could retire in 5 years. And I'm like, am I really the age that I am? Because I just feel like I'm just getting warmed up. And it's amazing. It's just truly amazing, because I was laughed at for doing what I was doing. And I was only doing it not to mock anyone or to be funny. It was that I was really going through discomfort quietly, silently, and I wasn't telling anyone. Because who wants to share that they can't even go to the bathroom? Who wants to share that? I just noticed my body was liking what I was doing, and I continued. Then I found Dr. Sebi alkaline diet, and I started looking at his recipe menu, and I said, where's the meat? No fish, no nothing. We just gonna consume nuts and berries all day? Teas, and that's just it. That's sea moss, and I'm supposed to be okay and satisfied like that? So I'll say for a few years I did stick to the alkaline diet, and it helped. I even improved my allergies eating the alkaline diet. But I'll be honest with you, when I found out I was expecting, I needed to change my diet. Some people say, no, you can still eat the way you've been eating. You can still have your, you don't need to have animal meat, protein. You don't have to get fish or none of that. But honestly, at the time, I felt like I needed to have more animal protein. So fish. I didn't crave chicken or sausage or any of those things, so fish was really my go-to. So I would just encourage you that if you are thinking of making some changes because you are uncomfortable, my book is coming out soon where I will be sharing some recipes. I started swapping foods. If you notice, if I have a video where I share my chickpea cookies, craving something sweet, but I didn't want to have the egg. I didn't want to have all of that. You know, when I go for ultrasounds, you know, women, we sometimes have fibroids in there. They don't tell you where they come from, but I promise you, it's probably a strong possibility it comes from consuming a lot of starch. You know, yams are healthy. Yams are good, right? Your what else people like to eat? Your potatoes, all that stuff is heavy, it's filling, but it's also a carb. Not necessarily the healthiest of carbs. So I try and swap. I like corn grits, but corn grits may not be the best to digest in your system. So I may do a swap. I do more of the ancient and less of the non-ancient. So what I'll do is I'll have, instead of maybe grits, maybe I'll do fonio. Maybe I'll do quinoa grits. You know, instead of doing plantains, I might do a burro banana. Dandelion greens are very bitter, but they're very high in iron. You can add those to your kale. Help with the bitterness. Combine those two, sweet and bitter. You know, just certain things we really need, especially as women. We need to be like water. We need to be able to flow and move like water. And if we can't move our body around like that, if it starts getting hard on us, we gotta make change. We should be able to pass with ease. We should be able to move with ease. The body really shouldn't tighten up the way it should unless there's something going on. And, you know, I don't know how to swim, and that's on my list of things that I want to learn how to do, because I want to be more fluid in every which way. I believe being more fluid in everything we do is what helps with our longevity. Water, drinking water, coconut water, cactus water. Hydration is major. Teas. First thing you wake up, a nice warm tea is really good on the belly. I used to be nauseous every day, and I couldn't understand, why do I want to vomit all the time? So I started drinking teas that had ginger in it. The ginger would just help me so much. I found that it helped me even with my cramps when I, you know, have my cycle, which I still have a cycle consistently every month without fail. If I don't have a cycle, I'm pregnant. So it's that simple. Improve your palate. It's okay if it's immature. Help it become more mature. you're just sitting there throwing back mac and cheese all the time, wondering why you're so full of mucus, of course you are. You're consuming foods that are mucus forming foods. Of course your body is going to be full of mucus. If you see me rubbing my nose too much, if you see these things, I probably did a little bit too much with the cheese. That's why I try and do alternatives. You know, you could turn nuts into a cheese by soaking them. You know, there's things that you can do. You may not want to do them. It's just, how do I preserve my life? I know I'm going to leave this earth, but I don't want to leave in discomfort. I would like to leave out with grace. So that's just some things that I'm sharing. A book will be coming soon, but you can check on my page. I have a few videos that I share of things that I've prepared that were my version of soul food, or my version of something sweet, without having to cause my body to work against me and not for me. So whatever you do, do it with purpose. If you need a food journal so you can start documenting how you eat, what you might need to stop eating, especially if you notice how your body responds, do it. It's okay if you're forgetful. That's why I say get a journal. Start documenting what you are doing and eating and how you felt. If you felt great, keep eating it. I notice now that when I eat clean foods, it was unusual for a very long time. When I eat clean, like instead of doing quinoa, instead of doing grits, I might do quinoa. I might throw in some vegan cheese or something, or I like to make eggs from hemp seeds. Sometimes I do chickpea. Hemp seeds are loaded with iron and so many things that we as women need. And add some peppers in there. Like, I get busy in that kitchen. And listen, if I can do it with 4 children, you can do it. A full 9-to-5 job. And have the nerve to have a business outside of my 9-to-5. A whole life. A husband, kids, a 9-to-5, and still manage to make time to meet with you. If I can do it, I know you can do it. Make time for what's important to you. Until next time, rest up.